As you know, I've been putting out some videos on making t-shirts, but it dawned on me, you may not know all of your options. Don't go away and I'll tell you all about the many ways you can make your own t-shirts. Hello friends and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you, as always, from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, lately I've been doing some videos on making t-shirts using HTV, or heat transfer vinyl, and a heat press. But at one time or another over the past 30 years, I have made shirts using almost every process available. So today, I'll talk about what's out there and the pros and cons of each of these different processes. As the most well-known process, I'm going to start with silk screening. Many may not know what it entails, but almost everyone has heard of it at one time or another. In silk screening, a reversed image is put onto a fine mesh screen to block out areas you don't want ink to pass through. A squeegee is then used to pull ink over the screen and force it through the fine mesh and onto your t-shirt exactly where you want it. Silk screening is the most known method for making t-shirts. It lends itself really well to printing large quantities of shirts. It can be very affordable and can handle a fair amount of colors. And it also has a decent lifespan. If I wanted to make, say, 1,500 t-shirts, invariably this is the method I would turn to. Now, silk screening isn't all peaches and cream, though. A screen printing machine is very large, and you'll need a dryer, a place to create the screens, store inks, and on and on and on. It's not really a do-it-at-home kind of thing. Colors can range from about 1 to 12, but some very good printers can print CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, which is also full color. But that brings with it its own set of issues. Setup can be extensive, and the small runs can be out of the question because of the costs. Finally, eventually, screen printing will crack and flake away, so there's certainly a limited lifespan on screen printed shirts. Here is a sample of a screen printed shirt I did in, well, obviously, 1988. This was for our 20th wedding anniversary. It's a single color t-shirt, and this was screen printed. Now, I only made 4 t-shirts, okay? So this ended up running over $20 a shirt because it's got single color on the front, single color on the back. I made 4 shirts. It's a really expensive way to do it, but I wasn't into some of the other things that I'm into now. So, yeah, this is just an example. You see, it's vibrant. It looks really nice. It's got what we call a soft hand, meaning when you touch it, it's not really uncomfortable. All right, so there it is. But eventually, this ink will start to crack and peel, and then the shirt just won't wear very well over a longer period of time. But there is a standard silk screened shirt. There is another way to bring screen printed garments to life, however. This is a process of true silk screening, but it's onto a carrier with an adhesive layer, so that you can pull this transfer out, heat press it as needed. Imagine wanting shirts for an event, but you don't know how many you need. You can print a ton of these without risking losing a bunch of finished t-shirts. This process has all the ups and downs of regular silk screening, but again, you only press the image onto actual shirts as they're needed. There's no risk of wasted shirts eating up your profit. I get my silkscreen transfers through a subsidiary of Stahls called Transfer Express, and they work great. But that isn't all Stahls offers. you can get something called a CAD print digital transfer, where Stahls uses dyes to print onto solvent-based heat transfer vinyl, and then you can press this onto shirts as need be. These are a great way to make shirts on the fly. It allows for limited numbers to be printed at a fair price, and best of all, it can handle full color graphics and even does gradients. These in smaller numbers can still be a bit spendy, but their biggest flaw is a kind of a heavy, papery feel on your shirt. A large graphic in this form can be downright odd feeling. But many of the methods I'm going to talk about today, even silk screening, can bring an odd feel to the printed area. Now you can order these types of transfers through Stahls' main website, and again, I'll put a link for that down below. Now here is a process called dye sublimation. In virtually every other method, you're applying an element to the surface of the shirt. In sublimation, a heated ink turns gaseous and it permeates the very fibers of the shirt, literally turning the area a different color. This brings with it full color prints, and they'll last like, well, forever. No fading, no wearing. The shirt will die before this print will. This shirt is super, super old, and it is just holding beautifully. This is a shirt I've printed and have worn hundreds of times. The image is still beautiful. Now, this is also a process that can be done at home, but it does still need a special printer and a heat press. I do love sublimation, and if you set up to print shirts this way, it opens the door to print a ton of other things. But to sublimate, you need to print on polyester or at worst 50-50, and you can only print on white or light colors. Large printing companies can print on 100% of the surface area of a shirt, as what they do is they print on panels, then they sew them together after the printing to make a final product. Clearly not something you can do at home. There is a new kid on the block called DTG, or Direct to Garment. This is neat. It's a wonderful setup. It can be used at home. It prints full color and can even print with white ink. But the printer, a good one, is super, super expensive. And you need a pre-treating setup and a heat press. And the inks are spendy too. This is one form I haven't done yet, but here is a sample of a DTG shirt. It has roughly the same look and feel of silk screening, and just like silkscreen printing, the images will tend to crack and peel with about the same lifespan as a screen printed shirt. Now maybe someday I'll get to try DTG for myself, but it is a new tech and it's still out of reach for many, financially, myself included. Then there is the good old heat transfer vinyl shirts, sort of like I'm wearing here. These are the kinds of shirts you've been seeing me do on my show all over the place. With a way to cut the vinyl like a plotter or a Cricut, you can design anything you want, cut it out from a myriad of materials in different colors and different patterns, and then simply press the design onto the shirt with heat. Now, I have found HTV is great for super small to moderate runs. The shirts last a very long time and are super color fast. And the ease of use allows you to create a shirt at a moment's notice. This shirt is several years old and there is not one bit of degradation in the image. Now, these vinyl products, like the CAD print transfers, can leave an odd feel to the shirt on a large, solid image, which gets worse as you layer colors. But there are application tricks to keep the problems to a minimum. So, where exactly does that leave us? Well, here is kind of how I break it down. For day in and day out, twos and fews, I'll turn to my vinyl cutter, HTV, and my heat press every time. It's cheap, it's fast, and the shirts last a long, long time. For a large order, it's silk screening all the way. And if you don't have an exact shirt count, you can opt for iron-on silkscreen transfers. For small orders with many colors, I'll use digital transfers for their versatility. I love some elements of dye sublimation, but it really isn't a great day-to-day option for the cost of the materials and limited abilities. Finally, I think I would love direct-to-garment, but who the hell can afford a good setup that can print white? Certainly not me. At the end of the day, the order itself will tell you what shirt printing method you will need to use. At the very least, it will narrow down your choices. I hope this video was helpful to you and that you enjoyed it. If so, please give this a thumbs up, click subscribe, and don't forget to heat press the notification bell so you never miss one of my t-shirt videos. As always, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them down below. That should about do it for today. Always remember to live life as though nobody is watching and express yourself as though everyone is listening. This is Paul from Fat Guy Productions. Until next time, be good.